Well, I got a kiss to do.
Okay, says we're live.
Okay.
Straightened out. I mean, best that I can.
Huh. I'm not a lost cause yet.
No.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Factual Fridays. We've got a pretty good one here today. Daughter of Otten found this video. I've seen a little bit and stuff, so it's supposed to be really good and controversial. And I want to start this one off and let you guys know 2 of my live streams now have been banned worldwide because we talked about the Olympics in them, apparently. So there's that. I still have them. I'm gonna take clips and make them into videos so that everybody, all my fans out there, can see more of it. But the lives got banned.
And it was super shady how they did it. Like, they didn't even tell us.
Yeah, they didn't tell us. We just all of a sudden realized it.
No copyright strike or anything.
Yeah, no strikes against me. We're good there. But they were just banned. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to find those 2. They were from, like, last week or the week before. I think.
Which sucks, because they were good ones.
They were.
You were the first ones to come out and say that one was, like, not
I know.
trans. It was actually...
Yeah, that woman that they talked about, this, they were calling trans at first, she's not trans. We know that. But she still has high testosterone and therefore should not compete against women because of that. That is my stance on it, and I stick to it. So, all right, let's go see what Daughter of Otten has.
We have, okay, so I'm going to preface this by telling the story of how I wanted to do the DNA test. You know, like how everybody does this DNA test. It's
the Ancestry.
Ancestry.com and everything. And it was supposed to be a birthday present for him when he was like 1 or 2. I can't remember. I started filling out the paperwork. And I saw my grandfather about it on the phone. So he must have been like 2 or 1. Yeah, he was one of those ages. But my grandfather was like, no, burn the paper. Don't even think about it. Don't do that. And like at the time I'm thinking, he's a conspiracy theorist. He's like kind of out there with the way that he thinks about things. And,
yeah.
I still respect it as much as I never did it. And then over the years, we started finding out some stuff that was kind of
yes.
like, maybe this isn't a good idea to be stuck in a big ass database. So it led me to this, and we will talk about some of the risks of like the dark side of DNA collection and what they might do with your information and stuff. And then the new information that I found out today is at the end.
Okay, that sounds really good. Now, I don't have my live chat pulled up, but it should say right on this thing, right? While I was in this.
Yeah, but you're going to be getting out of it, so I'll bring it up on another device.
Okay. So I'll be on the live stream soon. We'll communicate with whoever wants to join. But let me get to the video now. So...
You may have heard of 23andMe or Ancestry DNA. You know, those genetic tests where you spit in a tube and they tell you whether you're 4% South Asian or 95% Danish. But what happens to your spit after you mail it off? DNA testing kits are booming. Last year on Black Friday weekend alone, Ancestry DNA sold roughly 1.5 million kits. That's about triple what it sold in the same period in 2016. When you spit into a test tube, you end up giving away very sensitive information about yourself. We're guessing you didn't read the fine print, so we'll let an attorney summarize it.
When you sign up for one of these tests and you click on the agree to the terms of conditions, you are giving away substantially all of your property and privacy and legal rights to this DNA.
Your DNA data reveals information about your behavior, the diseases you're predisposed to, and the relatives you didn't even know you had. It also reveals information about your family members, even if they didn't take a test. And if you agree to participate in research, you're not just allowing companies to trace your ancestry. You're allowing them to give your data to third parties. And it's not always clear who these third parties are or how secure your data is in their hands. Once you hand over the rights to your data, it can be hard to control what happens to it. If your results suggest, for example, that you're susceptible to heart disease, that could wind up affecting your insurance coverage.
if you have taken one of these consumer DNA tests and it indicates that you have a likelihood for cancer or you're predisposed to certain types of medical conditions, the insurance company can ask you about your knowledge of your own health. And if you lie to the insurance company, they are allowed to decline your application or rescind your application if they find out about it in the future.
Laws like the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act can help prevent some cases of discrimination based on DNA. But those laws have plenty of loopholes and are presently under siege by Republican lawmakers. So far, we haven't seen any public examples of genetic test results being abused. But that doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. A lot of these risks are already...
Well, and I like it. We haven't seen for what's out there that they're doing that we're not seeing. That's not, there can be a lot. And this stuff can really be used to harm individuals and harm a lot more than just people.
Yeah, it's like just even thinking about it from a spiritual perspective, it's like that's
your
blood.
It is.
It's like it's quote unquote your spits, but still your DNA and everything that we know is encoded in our DNA.
Just Jurassic Park is a very good example of that. They took the DNA from the bones of the dinosaurs and they recloned them. From
the blood. From the
mosquito. That's where it all started from. Was that one?
Yeah. And I read a book back when that movie first came out, and it was talking about the science was really solid with that. We just didn't have the technological capability to do it yet.
But we would now.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Spelled out if you read the fine print. But privacy advocates and lawmakers are working to get these companies to make the risks of DNA testing clearer to consumers. In the meantime, you might want to think twice before you spit into a test tube.
You want to learn about your family heritage. And what better way than DNA testing? Except there could be a downside. Like, who gets access to your DNA? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon so you get notified next time we upload a video. Millions of people are curious about their ancestry. They want to learn a little bit more about their family history. And what better way to do that than sending a sample of your DNA to some big company with friendly videos?
Did you know you can learn a whole lot more about what's in your genes by comparing your results to others?
Yeah, just spit into a tube. Cheers. Then send it off to a lab somewhere and get your results back in 6 to 8 weeks. That video is from 23andMe. It's one of the two biggest genealogy companies in the US. The other big one is Ancestry.
Our expansive record collections and growing network of family trees have helped our members make billions of meaningful connections.
Both of them are also frequent sponsors of popular YouTube channels. So 23andMe, Ancestry, and several others, they've acquired a huge collection of human DNA. An estimated 7 million Americans have taken a DNA test, and worldwide, it's more than 26 million. Even the Grinch took a DNA test in this delightful example of product placement. Now we finally know what race the Grinch was meant to be. Just kidding. You do not want to know what race Dr. Seuss meant for the Grinch to be. It will destroy your childhood. 23andMe was careful to stick to less controversial genetics.
It says here loving salty snacks is in my DNA. True.
If it weren't for 23andMe, how could the Grinch possibly know he loves salty snacks? But there are genuinely good things that have come out of consumer-based DNA tests. For some people, the results can be a great boost to their ego.
Listen up. I'm a gene that impacts your muscle composition.
Do you even have ACTN3, bro? For others, they've credited DNA companies with helping them diagnose medical conditions. The tests tell you if you're genetically at risk for different diseases, like Alzheimer's or breast cancer. The FDA has approved them to give you certain medical results, but their methods are disputed. Some of the tests may be more like parlor tricks than medicine. Other people take DNA tests to find out more about their family heritage. You can find long-lost relatives. But like all good things, there's a catch. For starters, the results can be a lot to unpack. Here's what happened to Eugene from Try Guys in a video sponsored by 23andMe.
You are not 100% Korean. You are 19.9% Japanese.
19.9.
19.9.
My parents will be furious.
Or imagine if your father had another child that no one else knew about. Or if you find out that your father is not really your father. And whether your results are good or bad or chaotic neutral, they're made possible because genealogy companies like Ancestry and 23andMe have collected a treasure trove of data from millions of people. DNA testing really started taking off in 2017. And in 2018, as many people purchased consumer DNA kits as in all previous years combined. That's large.
That is a joke, the at-home stuff. It's like, the best thing is to go to the doctor, if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, right.
The at-home stuff, it's like so many contaminations.
I was like, the dog ones, they're done at home and everything. And I remember there was a controversial situation where somebody took their dog to the vet, and it had they had done this DNA testing and this embarking to see what kind of things it could be predisposed to, and it had said that it was predisposed to having this condition, and they ended up putting the dog down because of it, and then found out that it didn't have that issue. It was something else completely.
See, you're going off of the word of something else.
Yeah, exactly. That is
instead of following through with what you need to follow through with and go through the steps.
When it comes with the dogs, it's like I just have watched every single generation and how they've developed and how long they've lasted and what kind of issues they've had, and going back to their ancestors. Just information, they've taken those dogs to the vets, and you put that in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
And it's like, so they went to the vet for this, that, or the other. They didn't go at all. They lived their entire life without having to go. You put all of that stuff together yourself and do the work.
Exactly.
And don't trust science. Like they said, it's more parlor trick.
Yeah, than medicine.
They don't know. So it's like, if that's happening with dogs, imagine people.
I know. Exactly.
They're so believable and so lazy.
Gullible.
It's like, yeah, gullible and lazy.
Yeah, that is for sure. We stopped at 333.
Largely because the costs have gone down dramatically. Now you can get a DNA testing kit for less than $100. And as prices drop, and these companies keep sponsoring YouTube channels and Dr. Seuss characters, DNA testing will only get more popular. The MIT Technology Review estimates that a total of 100 million people will have tried a DNA home testing kit by 2021.
See, pretty soon, they're going to do it where they're paying you to do it.
Yeah.
Just so that they can get your DNA on file. They're going to be like, oh, we'll pay you $100, just send your DNA in to us and we'll...
Yeah. Now they want to keep charging people because it makes it look like an exclusive, trendy thing.
Yes.
But yeah, pretty soon I can see that this incentive, like what they were doing with the jab.
Yeah.
Talking about like, oh, we'll give you a gift card if you come in. And
even me, I used to do the plasma.
Right.
Who knows what they keep out of that to find the information about you. I know that I was tetanus high.
Right.
Like a certain protein.
Yeah.
And so they used me to make an extra special antidote thing to help other people.
But it's like, how far does it go?
Exactly.
Has it and it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late anyway,
I donated plasma for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but
for sure, it's a life-saving process. People do need it. I get that, and that's one of the reasons that I did it. And then they paid you to do it too, so it was kind of like a job.
Yeah, it's like a win-win thing, But who knows? Who knows what information they have,
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, that sounds like a gold mine of personal data, and I know a couple of guys who really love that stuff. Now, a giant corporation getting access to your personal data is already scary enough. What about the police? It turns out your trusted law enforcement could be navigating the very same databases you willingly submitted your DNA into. More and more, we're seeing cold cases of rape and murder getting retroactively solved with the help of DNA database matching systems. It's happening across the country: Maryland, Florida, Alabama, and California. The case of the Golden State Killer is the most high-profile example of police using a genealogy database in action. Just over a year ago, investigators identified Joseph DeAngelo as the man they say is responsible for killing and raping dozens of people and burglarizing over 100 homes across the state in the 1970s and 80s. They cracked the case with the help of an online genealogy database called GED Match. It's an open-source website that hosts raw genetic information. The information is uploaded voluntarily by people who are actively looking for long-lost relatives. The lead investigator in the Golden State Killer case said he spent about 7 years using open-source genealogy-based websites to find the culprit. Eventually, DeAngelo's distant relatives uploaded their DNA to the database, and that's what led authorities to DeAngelo, although he hasn't been convicted. Here's another case that was cracked using GED Match, where the suspect's DNA was matched through a relative on the site, a relative who also presumably had a terrible mullet. Now you might say this is great. We're catching criminals who've evaded justice for decades. But just think about it for a second. They were caught through the DNA of relatives. They never willingly gave their DNA for testing. Well, except for the DNA they presumably left behind at the crime scenes. Now you might wonder whether police need a warrant to do this kind of stuff. Technically, they do. But at least one genealogy company, Family Tree DNA, is just handing over access to federal prosecutors. Over 2 million genetic profiles were exposed in this deal. Your private genetic information may not be so private anymore. John Verdi is the vice president of policy at the Future Privacy Forum, a DC-based think tank that focuses on data privacy. He's deeply concerned about this. He said the deal between Family Tree DNA and the FBI is deeply flawed, out of line with industry best practices, and out of line with consumer expectations. Most consumers expect their data to remain private, but not every company sees it that way. The operator of GED Match, Curtis Rogers, told the Mercury News that user profiles might be used for non-genealogical uses, and if users are concerned about their privacy, they should take their data down or avoid uploading their DNA in the first place. But it's a little bit unfair to provide a service for one purpose and then expect customers to understand that their data will be used for a completely different purpose. I mean, Facebook. To be fair, recently GED Match updated its website so that before...
I'm gonna go back. Hold on. Facebook chief.
Small. There you go.
Yeah, Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg admits responsibility for data misuse. Mark Zuckerberg has admitted Facebook failed to protect the user data and prevent manipulation of its platform. Some 87 million users had their personal information harvested for political purposes by Cambridge Analytica.
So basically, it's just they're saying like the same thing could happen.
Yeah.
With DNA database, like if another country gets a hold of it or
exactly
whatever, you know. I don't know what they would do with it, but I mean, you can only imagine. I mean, sci-fi isn't so far.
No, it's not.
You know, so if they think about cloning soldiers and
yes,
like you said, like what was the movie?
Organs.
The Island, where they raise these people up and then harvest their organs for rich people.
Put this whole thing in their mind that, oh, you're going to go to an island, you're winning a trip.
And they kill them and then take their...
Yeah. Because like I said, you can't just have a sack that has organs in it and, to harvest, you can harvest that. It had to be in a living being because it did not work any other way.
They need the struggle, they need the life, they need, like otherwise they would just be not viable. Where did that go?
I don't want to know. Cat sneeze.
Cat.
But yeah.
So we continue.
Yep.
To be fair, recently GED Match updated its website so that before you sign on, you can read through their 8-page Terms of Service and Privacy policy. On page 5, there's a part that says possible uses of raw data include blah, 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 familial searching by third parties such as law enforcement agencies. So obviously, every user will read the Terms of Service thoroughly and make an informed decision. On the other hand, I think it would be better if they just told you up front that they're going to share your DNA with the police.
Yep.
So are all genetic testing companies working with law enforcement to solve crimes? Not necessarily.
Exactly.
Some companies have come out and denied claims their databases are used to solve crimes. 23andMe and Ancestry both said they don't work with law enforcement unless they receive a court order. A spokeswoman for 23andMe told the Washington Times that the company has never turned over customer data to law enforcement. And a spokeswoman for Ancestry said the company doesn't share data with insurance carriers, employers, or third-party marketers, and that law enforcement only gets access through a court-ordered warrant. I wonder, though, why some law enforcement agencies still won't disclose exactly which database they're using to crack crimes. Above all, it's disturbing to know that people can be identified through DNA services without having ever consented to it because of a relative being in the database. I mean, we all have that crazy uncle who may or may not have committed grand larceny and caused $32,000 worth of property damage. And does Uncle Nick really deserve to go to jail? Well, that saliva you spit into a tube may be just what authorities need to finally catch him. And then, who's going to give you weird and slightly inappropriate Christmas gifts next year? But seriously, there are going to be people who say, what's the big deal? I don't have anything to hide. And that might be true, as long as we're living in a free and democratic society. But not every free and democratic society stays that way forever. What if one day your country becomes more authoritarian? China's authoritarian regime is already using DNA to spy on people. So having your DNA out there could come back to bite you. And here are 3 companies that have acknowledged they actively share genetic information with U.S. law enforcement: GED Match, Family Tree DNA, and Parabon Nano Labs. Those are just the ones we know about right now. Back when the Golden State Killer story first broke, investigators didn't say which sites they had been working with. So who knows which companies are doing what until they get called out for it. It just goes to show that, like all private information, even your DNA kits are not so private when in the hands of a company that's being irresponsible or under pressure from law enforcement. And if that's news to you, you must be new here. Hi. But look at the bright side. If it weren't for 23andMe, how would we know the Grinch likes salty snacks?
True.
So what do you think about DNA testing companies? Have you taken a DNA test yourself? Leave your comments below. And this video has been sponsored by 23andMe. Just kidding. It's not easy to get sponsorship from large corporations when I call out the shady behavior of large corporations. That's why America Uncovered relies on support from viewers like you who contribute through the crowdfunding website Patreon. Visit patreon.com/America Uncovered to support this show by joining our team and pledging $1 or more per episode. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.
Now it's going to go into the news thing that I found this morning.
Okay.
And now to a KCAL News investigation tonight into the state of California's newborn DNA database.
Well, for decades, the state has taken a DNA sample from every baby born in the state. And as Julie Watts reports, for years, critics have demanded to know just who has access to the records.
For 40 years, California's been storing a newborn DNA sample from every baby born here. What's it being used?
I mean, that's crazy, okay? Because, like, thinking about it, that would be us.
Yep, let's see. You were born here.
Yep.
I was born here. He was born here.
I mean, that's the 3 of us here are now within the database without us even consenting to it.
Yeah. I mean, and
we're
even
just
if,
there.
Like, you know, they talk about like what children can consent to now, and like you can sue your parents for even being born.
Yeah.
And it's like we didn't consent to that, even if our parents did. You
Exactly.
know? And I really highly doubt that our parents really
knew.
Yeah, it's because you'll see. You know, what they do here, but that's 40 years.
That's crazy.
You know, I mean, so even going through not getting the DNA thing through Ancestry and everything and avoiding all of that mess, it still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And like I said, my grandfather would turn in his urn, you know, hearing about it.
Turn in the urn.
Because he was just so foursquare against the government having anything to do with bloodline.
Yes, I know. I remember.
You know, was like, so that really sucks.
I know.
And I don't know what there is to do to like fight that except to resist and
You got to go into the new age, the new way. I mean, don't go to the hospitals like people do all the time. Watch how you bring a kid into this world.
Yeah, what tests are done, what
Yes.
vaccines are given.
Vaccines are a joke anyway. As far as the most part, there's a few that yes were good because they eliminated a couple of things.
It's just the more modern new age vaccines that I have an issue with.
Yes.
Things that have been developed in the past 20 years because you had this little short standard list of things that that was good, that worked.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this list just grew and grew and grew and
yeah,
all these different things that they have on it. And it's just like another story for another live stream, but
for another 10 live streams.
Not particularly not an anti-vaxxer, but just anti-new age vaxxer, I guess.
Yeah.
The stuff that they made
Again, sticking everything from the government in your body.
Yeah. It was like when these original vaccines were made, there wasn't a whole lot of like government influence. It was literally focused on restoring the population. We had plagues, and then we had like those bad flus, and then early 1900s, and so it was built out of necessity. And now it's like, we just got all these preventatives.
I know. Now, yeah.
I mean,
especially with the
yeah, exactly. I was just gonna bring that up, but I'm not gonna because
another day, another live stream.
But yeah, go ahead and check this out. This is what our state has been doing for the past 40 years.
Used for? Well, that's become a state secret. Every baby born in California gets a heel prick shortly after birth. Their newborn blood fills 6 spots on a special card used to test them for genetic disorders that, if treated early enough, could prevent severe disabilities, even death. Doctors only need a few spots for the baby's own life-saving test. The rest becomes property of the state. And what happens next has become a state secret.
What are they trying to hide?
From consumer watchdogs Jamie Court to genetic detective Cece Moore.
People have the right to choose how their DNA is used and how their children's DNA is used.
For years, everyone from privacy advocates to lawmakers have called for more transparency. And for years, we've been fighting for answers. The Department of Public Health declined our request for an interview, but our investigation uncovered that law enforcement requests newborn blood spots and in some cases uses the DNA to solve crimes. Records reveal thousands of de-identified DNA samples are sold each year to independent researchers. But since the pandemic, California's public health department suddenly refuses to reveal who's now using our DNA samples for research and why, saying it's no longer tracking that information like it used to, and it's not required to create a record telling us who has access to.
Just like they're not tracking UAPs or UFOs, right? They don't have a secret base out in the freaking desert. Same psyop.
And they don't know what those balloons are.
Right. The first one was definitely a Chinese balloon, but the other ones were just never really identified.
Nope.
Never really called anything, just another anomaly.
A weather balloon.
Yeah, I don't think they even called it that. So it's like, see, they have these little loopholes,
They've called a couple of them weather balloons.
Yeah, there was like there's two that they haven't really disclosed. And so they
Yeah.
shot down objects. That's it.
Yeah, shot down objects.
Yeah, so they just assumed since they said, balloon first.
Balloon object.
Then it was then your mind will automatically put in that this must be a balloon too.
Yeah.
We had one sitting over Kern Valley, out in Lake Isabella, around that same time, and somebody had spotted it. I mean, it was way up there, and it stayed in that same stationary position for like 6 hours or something.
Wow. See, that's crazy.
And it's like, if it was a balloon, it shouldn't be able to be stationary,
Exactly, it shouldn't.
So yeah, but I remember screenshotting it because it was around the same time, but nothing ever came of that one.
See, things are watching.
Yeah.
They're watching what we do, how we do it.
Yeah. Like, disappointed. All right, continue. Hopefully this is
to our DNA. At the Capitol this year, one transparency bill prompted by our reporting has sailed through the legislature with widespread support. But it was just amended to remove the part where the state has to publicly reveal who is doing the research, what the research is, and how it benefits public health. So what does the bill do? Well, the state will have to reveal the number of published studies and the number of California DNA samples used, which privacy advocates say is a small step in the right direction, but they question the continued state secrecy.
Were you aware that the state was storing your child's DNA?
No.
Do you think you should have been aware?
Absolutely.
California's been storing blood spots from every baby born here since 1983. Has amassed what's believed to be the largest stockpile of newborn DNA samples in the country because it's one of only a handful of states that stores them indefinitely without parents' permission. Genetic testing companies like 23andMe have to get your permission before they store, use, or sell your DNA, but your state government doesn't. And there's never been an outside audit or review of how your DNA is being used.
There's no reason to be doing experiments on a child's blood without the parents knowing.
For years, lawmakers have tried to change that, but the powerful medical lobby killed the bills, arguing if given the choice, too many parents would opt out of storage, impacting potentially life-saving research.
I mean, no, come on, that's fine. If they want to opt out, that is their responsibility as a parent to know what is best for their baby. This is ridiculous. They're like, well, too many would opt out.
There's so many
that
would do it
because they do not agree with it in the first place.
And like I said, we're the minority. There's so many that would do it willingly. There's so many that just do it because it's just like I get with the dogs. I always get, well, I don't know why you wouldn't just use the more modern things that are available to us. You know, it's like I'm going to use everything that's available to me as a modern person, and it's like that's stupid.
But see,
it's stupid.
But see, they want like our type of kids.
They want the resistance.
And and they want ours because they've got the ones that are compliant.
Yeah.
They've got them. They're all the same.
Exactly.
They want to see what's on the outside.
Right. So this doesn't.
And they wouldn't get it.
No, this doesn't fly. You know, because like I said, with us being the minority, the ones that resist, there's 3 more that would be willing to do it. So that just doesn't make sense. They would do it. I mean, they would do it. You know, I'm thinking of particular people here, and it's like they don't even question stuff. And it's like they, again with compliance of the jab and everything, and not even in the masking, and it's like just the level that they took it to.
Yes.
And pointing fingers and say you're the problem, and it's like there's so many more of them than there was of us.
I know. Yeah.
It's like
we're the minority.
Yep. They would definitely sign up for this.
Yes.
We were opposed.
Then earlier this year,
we'll go neutral.
Even the medical lobby
able to go neutral.
Changed its stance.
We are prepared to move it to a neutral position.
3 different Senate committees passed a bill to let parents opt out of storage before the DNA is collected. But the bill was quietly killed behind closed doors without a vote because the California Health Department argued it would cost too much to give parents that right.
I was just saying where it said the quiet please thing in progress. Guru Wolfboy and myself were just there this year for one of his school trips for the 8th grade. We got to go and see some of San Francisco and the planetarium and all that stuff. The videos are on our channels if you guys haven't seen them. We had a blast, got to see Alcatraz, the Exploratorium, the Science Museum, the aquarium, a couple of Navy subs and ships and
they
stuff.
They milked that trip, remember, and they pushed it. It was like they even did a ferry ride that you guys even get to make it on because it was just so much.
5 days.
It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
then we went to Sacramento, and we got to see. Yeah. We got to see the room where they pass all the bills and stuff.
That'd be that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, it'd be really quiet, and you can't even get that close.
No, and they let us peek in.
That's so cool.
They let us see in.
That's cool.
On the floor level. We went and sat up top and got to see everything. But they let us peek in because the security guard doesn't have to. The tour guide will ask him, it's like, can this group see in? And if there's something going on, more than likely they won't do it. No, sorry, stuff's happening. But, the security guard, oh, yeah, go ahead. But don't touch anything. It's very strict.
There's also a building that had gender-neutral bathrooms.
Yes, they had gender-neutral bathrooms.
And are very difficult to access men's bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was women's.
Yeah, there was only one men's bathroom in the whole thing. The rest were gender-neutral.
And it was upstairs.
Yeah.
So it was like you didn't have it on the same floor. You had gender neutral women's, and then you had to go upstairs.
Exactly.
To the men's bathroom. And most of the people that are probably working there are men, right?
It seemed, yeah. They're getting more females
Yeah,
in
I was gonna say it's
in
probably
office.
with that kind of job, it's probably pretty divided.
Yeah.
Like out here where there's manual labor, you see more men working than women. So
I stopped this one like with like seconds left, but
yeah, so I haven't seen this one. This was pretty crazy to watch.
So privacy advocates plan to try again next year. Julie Watts, KCAL News Investigates.
So yeah, resist.
Now, now to a big KCAL News investigation.
Wait, it's not the same one, is it?
mm-mm. No, this one's 4 minutes and something. The other was
Okay, and then I have the actual consumer watchdog clip. They keep using some clips for it here, so it's gonna be a little bit repetitive.
okay, but yeah, for this different.
Yeah, so hopefully this hasn't. I hope this isn't like a repeat of the information. If it is, you can skip it.
Okay. Well, we need the filler, so.
I know.
And genetic testing companies like 23andMe have to get your permission before they store, use, or sell your DNA. But your state government doesn't. In fact, here in the state of California, they store DNA samples from every baby born here. In response to our decade-long investigation, KCAL News investigative correspondent Julie Watts shows us why some lawmakers are now pushing for more transparency.
Yeah, if you're even related to somebody born in California since 1983, a portion of your DNA is likely in the state's massive newborn genetic biobank. Now, we've been reporting on the issue for about a decade.
Dr. Vaughton's asking, do I think if other states do it? And I mean, I assume there are some, like Florida is very similar in action to us.
In Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, so I'm sure there are.
Let me see the phone. I'll look it up.
Oh. Is anybody in the chat room?
So basically, what you're saying is blue states.
Yeah, yeah, the same type.
Yeah.
And suddenly the state is refusing to tell us who else has access to those samples. Now, we know the biobank is saving lives, but it's that appearance of state secrecy that's raising concerns.
He was very, very cute, very adorable baby, and he has a lot of hair.
Ronnie's dad has wonderful memories.
Perfectly healthy.
Of seeing his son for the first time. What happened next was an afterthought. Like every baby born in the state, little Ronnie got a heel prick shortly after birth. His newborn blood filled 6 spots in a special card used to test babies for dozens of congenital disorders that, if treated early enough, could prevent severe disabilities or death. A couple of days after taking their seemingly healthy boy home from the hospital,
we got a call.
They learned Ronnie's heel prick revealed a rare genetic disorder called SCID.
He was diagnosed with no immune system at all.
It's known as the bubble boy disease. Ronnie's first infection could have...
So, like, wouldn't you just take blood at the time you started noticing symptoms?
You would think, yeah.
I guess they're trying to, like, say that you don't want to get to the point of, like, seeing symptoms.
Yeah, you want to catch it right away. That's what they're saying. They want to catch it, like, while the baby's first born.
Before, so they can stop it from happening.
Yeah.
As a preventative. So, okay, I guess that makes sense. Because I was thinking otherwise, you would just get blood testing done anyway as soon as it was happening and be able to figure out what was going on.
But they're trying to, because, like,
Right.
if it's something that shows up when you're a teenager, if they can get to it before, they might be able to fix it and not have it affect that you as a teenager.
Right. But just knowing the medical field, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to say, "Well, as soon as you start seeing symptoms, we'll do
Oh
this."
yeah, some of them
So
there's
it's
nothing.
like-
There's nothing they can do until
it's
then.
Kind
You
of
know.
like the Pompeii's disorder. Pompeii's
Yeah.
disease, you know, it's like there's only so much you can do. You can start doing enzymes later, but there's like, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
killed him. Instead, he was rushed to UCSF, where he received life-saving gene therapy and where he met Dr. Puck.
I could never have developed a newborn screening test for SCID if we hadn't had stored dried blood spots.
Dr. Puck created the test that saved Ronnie's life. It was the first developed using extracted DNA from leftover blood spots stored in California's massive newborn genetic biobank. You see, doctors only need a few spots for the baby's own life-saving genetic test. The rest becomes property of the state. California has been storing blood spots from every baby born here since 1983. and can now test newborns for more than 80 rare disorders, thanks to research using those blood spots. California's amassed the largest stockpile of blood spots in the country, one of only a handful of states that stores them indefinitely without asking for parents' permission.
Were you aware that the state was storing your child's DNA?
See, we're getting more.
No.
Do you think you should have been aware?
Absolutely.
And therein lies the concern. Instead of getting permission or letting you know you can opt out of storage or research, California sends you home from the hospital with a pamphlet and points you to a website with more information.
I feel like that's something that should have been discussed with us in person.
Everyone who came into our room gave us like another pamphlet.
Blood is inherent.
I agree. That is something that should have been asked in person, talked about, and like just the idea out there said, everybody's opinions right there and then.
So they get away with it by having this little pamphlet. Oh, if you have questions, that directs you there, and then you can go through some kind of thing that probably has a million other frequently asked questions and stuff like that. So that's how they get away with it, as being like disclosed, because they provided a link.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's some pretty serious stuff.
That's shady as
Yeah.
no get up.
And that's what I was saying. It's like, so they said that you could opt out of research and storage. So I wonder if you can just opt out of that part and still get the genetic testing, like see if you have.
Yeah, but they.
Do you trust them?
Yeah, I think they still would do it.
Probably.
They wouldn't care because, they're trying to hide it anyway.
Yeah.
Inherently or intrinsically personally identifiable.
Public records we obtained in 2010 revealed blood spots are also used by law enforcement. We found at least 5 search warrants and 4 court orders for identified blood spots, and that was before the Golden State Killer case made genetic genealogy a common law enforcement tool. Since then, from cold case murders in California to a cold case rape in New Jersey, law enforcement is using blood spots to solve crimes committed by parents before their kids were born. But when we recently asked the California Health Department for an updated list of research and law enforcement requests, the agency denied us, saying it's no longer tracking that information like it used to, and it's not required to create a record telling us who has access to our DNA.
What are they trying to hide?
From consumer watchdogs Jamie Court to genetic detective Cece Moore.
People have the right to choose how their DNA is used and how their children's DNA is used.
For years, everyone from privacy advocates to lawmakers have warned California's secrecy could ultimately harm the biobank. Several states have had to destroy their blood spots after being sued for storing them without consent.
That's a travesty.
And many believe California's biobank could be next.
We need to find ways that parents can consent without harming research.
And so does Ronnie's dad.
Corona wouldn't have existed today if the treatment was not there.
Ronnie's dad supports parental consent and the biobank.
That's the key here.
Thanks to other babies storing blood spots, Ronnie's not only surviving, he's thriving.
But parents, listen to this. You do have the right to find out if your own child's blood spots are being used for research. We posted a link with more information on our website at kcalnews.com. And coming up tomorrow on KCAL News Mornings, Julie shows us how lawmakers are pushing for transparency and why they face an uphill battle against a powerful state agency.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yes.
So, they tell you that it is, but they won't tell you how or why. Right, did I not? Did it go? Should be it. Okay, get out of full screen. It's been jumping around on me. And then if you scroll down from there, it should show me the playlist. I was just looking for the actual consumer watchdog. Was it in there?
Nope.
It's not in there?
No, see? There's only these 4.
No, see the one
right here.
There, yeah. So I had one straight from the news and one from them. So that's like all I have for you for today.
Yeah, because the consumer watchdog was that. It was. And
gotcha.
we are at about 12 minutes left.
Okay, I'm sure we can fill it up with the stuff that we found here.
And do we have anybody in the room?
Nobody's in the room. It says that the DNA of virtually every newborn in the United States is collected and tested soon after birth. But it doesn't say that they actually collect and keep it. They say it's for genetic testing. So it could very well be that every single state does have some sort of database, whether it's publicly known or not.
Yes, I would imagine they do.
Newborn DNA Banking, American Civil Liberties Union. Let's check that out.
Are you putting it up or?
No, I'm reading it.
Oh, okay.
States require hospitals to screen newborns for just certain genetic and other disorders. Many states view the testing as so important as they do not require medical personnel to get parents express permission before carrying it out. To collect the DNA sample, medical personnel prick the newborn's heel and place a few drops of blood on a card. There is one question that new parents rarely ask. What happens to the blood spots after the testing is done? This is where newborn screening becomes problematic. It used to be that after the screening was completed, the blood spots were destroyed. Not anymore. Today, it is increasingly common for states to hold on to these samples for years, even permanently. Some states also use the samples for unrelated purposes, such as in scientific research, and give access to the samples to others.
Wow.
So what research?
I don't know. Well, I'm assuming research into these genetic disorders that they're looking for. Like, if they find that a certain kid has it, it's like, okay, so what other in its blood is different? What other in its DNA doesn't match any of the others, does it? I assume it's stuff like that.
Probably. With all this 40 years of like having them, though, you think that they would know something.
They have a better understanding?
Yeah, like right now you should know exactly what kind of things predispose to cancer. And,
Yes, you should.
I don't know. Research is done on newborn DNA. Okay, in California, whatever. Since that's at the top. Yeah.
NBS.
Life-saving test. It's like they were talking about like what you found the other night, the placenta and the blood cord stem cell research stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was reading some comments where people were saying that they took theirs home or cut it up and then made it unavailable, and like they got like people got mad at them, like the doctors and stuff got mad at them because they get paid for that.
Yeah, see? And okay, what you were telling me about the abortion too.
Yeah, we'll cover that maybe in the days to come or something, but make sure you're still in your camera bubble here.
Yeah.
There was like an undercover video that came out, and it was the same sort of thing. It was like they were harvesting, they did harvest tissues and hearts and lungs and livers and all this stuff from all these preborn babies and everything.
Yeah.
Talking about the brutal way of extracting it, and she's like, I'd rather just take it out in 4 chunks and try to keep everything intact. Usually the torso's intact, so that's good. While she's sitting there snacking on food and talking.
Yeah, stuff in her face.
Talking about this stuff. Why are we liking it? Hold on. I want to make sure we're still good. Give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. Let it load. I'm trying to make sure we're still going. It should be, but get completely out and get back to it.
Get out of there. Okay, reload the app. Is that what's up?
I know. Have something happen?
Yeah. Let's make it live. There you are.
Still shows me live.
Yep. There you are. So it's up a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Like, check out some of the comments here. See what people are saying on that.
Okay, one person from that said, "They did this without my permission. Can I sue? Any lawyers I can talk to?" Let's see. I don't see any replies on that one. That was 3 months ago. One that doesn't apply. I got asked by the state of North Carolina if they can take blood samples from my son for this same reason. I agreed for them to take his sample. I hope parents allow them to do this. It really does help for cases like this in criminal and health cases. I think they should, hold on, this is going to have more too. Tell them before taking it, of course. I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah.
Okay, for taking it. I got asked before they took my son's. It's not a bad thing. It just, you got to get permission.
I mean, if you want to think of it in those terms, I guess, yeah.
And every parent, I believe, should have the right. If they don't want to, there's reasons.
And you shouldn't be shamed for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's still plenty of people that are willing to
If
do
it feels bad to you, if it feels not right, whatever your reason, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't want it, you should not have to worry about
should
it.
not be shamed
Yes.
for that. Like, speaking of shaming, it's kind of off topic, but I was watching about, like, they're passing a new law to make doctors be more honest about IUD insertions because they always say it's slightly uncomfortable.
And yeah. Well, and I mean, slightly uncomfortable to who? Everybody's pain tolerance is different.
Well, like, from what I saw in the comments, there was, like, 3 people that said that it was just slightly uncomfortable, like a period cramp and stuff.
Yeah.
And just about every other person said it was, like, the worst pain. And that they had bleeding for 3 months afterwards. I had bleeding for 3 months afterwards as well. And just saying that they, like either screamed or passed out. And it's like, I don't, and they're like, I know that sounds dramatic, but they're like, it was really, like, the worst pain. And they're not offered any kind of pain medication before or after.
Well, no, because they think it's simple.
Yeah, it's a routine thing. And then they went into talking about, like, catheters. And it's like, for men, they put on a lubricating jelly that helps numb it and everything, but not for the women. And the whole premise was, well, it has longer to go for the man. But then they found out that has really nothing to do with it because it's the bladder pain pressure that's the worst.
Yeah, well, because you got a balloon that drops down and then inflates.
So it's like, I've had a catheter once, and it was when I went in and found out about him, and it was like I'd been there for like 17 hours, and I was really dehydrated and stuff, and I couldn't provide a sample, and I was just like not feeling good, so they went and just like took it with a catheter.
See?
Yeah, so it was like, wow, that's another form of
Control.
Yeah.
Flat out control.
But so it's another one that I kind of want to cover. It's maybe more for my channel because it's kind of like a feminine thing.
Oh, we got another one that we want to do too on yours.
Right. But it was like, I don't know, but they're saying they need to be more honest with disclosing it, and they need to start providing a pain management thing. One of them got offered fentanyl before, and I thought, well, that's interesting. That's really strong. That's a really like, why would you do that? You know, just jump to fentanyl. You know,
that sounds like a setup.
It does. It's like gets you hooked on that. You know, but it's like the ones that did say that they had asked for something for pain get treated like they're like drug seeking.
You don't need it, so why are you even asking? What you want drugs?
And they tell you it's just like this in and out procedure so that you don't have to like have somebody drive you home.
Yeah, but it's not.
It isn't. I remember I couldn't sit. And it was really painful, and I still had to go shopping and do stuff after.
Yes.
And it hurt for a couple of days.
It's no joke. I mean, and like I said, everybody's pain tolerance is different.
Yeah.
Yours is pretty high.
Yeah.
And it still caused you issues.
And I had just had him, so it was like I was still softened and stuff, so it
Yeah.
shouldn't have been that bad. And I mean, like, I don't recall it being that bad at the moment. I had like really hot flush, like the period, like really, really bad cramps.
Yes.
And then it subsided then. But then by the time that I got across the parking lot and tried to get into the car, it just hit. And I was like, I couldn't sit.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then, you know, there's been stories about your body rejecting it. One of them said that she had contractions so hard that it turned it into a little ball.
God.
And she was like, and so they got it taken out, and she was like, it looked like a little tinfoil ball with some strings around it because of the contraction trying to shove it out, and it couldn't do it because of the claw clamps.
Well, and it depends how quickly after birth too, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because
or if you've never
sometimes,
had birth.
yeah. Because sometimes placenta can come like way later.
Right.
So the body still contracts. And if they put it in, the body's just going to try to force it back out.
Yeah, and it's like a natural thing, I think, anyway, for your body wanting to reject it.
Yeah.
There's been like cases of people just like the metal just dissolves, and it's like
God.
Then you have heavy metals in your bloodstream for God knows how long after.
Well, you had the copper.
I had the copper one.
And that you were still getting issues from that one because we had it in for how long?
13 years.
13 years, and it wasn't the longest that they'd seen.
No, they'd seen one for 23. So
even though they're only supposed to be in for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
and ours was in for 13.
Yeah.
But we got it out, and thankfully, I mean, we thought that there was damage to it and stuff like this, but thankfully they were able to just
they found it right away.
popped it right out.
I have to tell you, I was terrified of how bad it was going to hurt getting it
Yeah.
taken out, and I didn't feel like anything, so it was good.
And it was a really nice nurse that did it, so
Yeah.
that helps a lot.
Still, really tried to push getting another one put in right away.
But we were looking to
Yeah,
have another kid, so
and it was like, and I just didn't want to have that be out of our control anymore. It was
Exactly.
Like, for 13 years, it's been 100% out of my control, and it was like, if nature's done with me, if God
Then
is
that's
done
one
with me,
thing.
then I accept that. But
Yes.
but since it was done to me in a medical way, I couldn't accept that.
Well, exactly.
It was like,
And I mean, literally the following month after getting it removed, we had
we had conception, but not implantation.
Yeah.
I said implantation, it just didn't work. I felt it trying, and then it was just like no. And then the next
and then the
month,
second
I was
month,
like,
it took, no problem.
oh,
And we're 6 months into that.
Yep, it was crazy. Time goes
So
by
happy.
fast.
You're blessed. A most is coming.
Yep. That's gonna be we have 3 months.
Yep.
So that'll be a fun thing. So probably I won't be present for like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards.
Yeah. And that's supposed to be November 13th or something.
Yeah, so probably just about when Yule starts is when we'll come back around and you can meet him and stuff.
Yeah. But was I right on that? November 13th?
I said 11th. They said the 13th or the 10th. I said the 11th.
Okay, so anywhere
I
from
want that double 11.
anywhere between the 9 and like 20th.
Yeah, I shouldn't go
That's
that far.
that's a bigger margin, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
I hope that doesn't happen. Like, he was at 36 weeks, almost 37 weeks.
Tristan?
Yeah, and he was fun. They didn't even say he was early or anything.
No, but they really try to drag it out for like longer.
Yeah, they do. I know, and it's like.
And to me, that's crazy.
Because like, so if you go through. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you do the 9-month thing, it should actually be in October.
Yeah.
But going by the 40-week thing that they do, it puts us at. So, I mean, honestly, it could be from the end of October to that point. So it's probably more likely to be on that end of it. So
that'd be kind of cool.
If I disappear.
Imagine on Halloween.
That would be not probably good. Open vessel,
But the portal's still going to be thin. The veil.
It is. It's true.
No matter what.
It's risky.
So.
But I don't know. It's going to be
protection.
But
Namaste.
I'm going to disappear for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You can do
you
your
need
live
to.
streams.
No, you need to be able to be away, and then we'll slowly start showing everybody to the world to him.
It's like we'll maybe record a little bit of the process.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be.
No.
Like that.
No, that's private. That's us.
That's exploitive.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do that.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's not happening.
But I do want to show, like pre-labor stuff maybe, and
yes,
saying it doesn't have to be, and maybe it's like post.
For sure.
So just to show that it doesn't have to be as scary and as bad as people make it out to be.
Exactly.
Because it's like a lot of the fear is a big problem. You clamp down and you don't.
I know. Yeah.
You don't trust the process.
Yours was pretty good. The first one.
It was so easy.
With Guru here.
It was so easy. It was like it wasn't even the worst pain that I've ever had. But
you were worn.
Yeah, I got really exhausted, and I blame that on my asthma. But I recovered. And
now. You know more so what to do.
Yeah. So, I'm not really particularly worried about it. I only worry if the cord is wrapped.
Yeah, there's little things that we're going to be watching for and making sure. I mean, that is the most important.
We should do our research on that. Make sure that if there's an emergency, how to handle it.
Yeah, it's going to be a home birth, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and since it's winter, we're probably going to rent a
RV.
Yeah, or use an RV.
Yeah.
I don't want to destroy it, but that way the water's right there, the food is right there, the bed's right there, and because normally it would be done in a tent or like he was in a hut, just at the base of a mountain on the floor. So wild.
Yep.
But he'll be the first one born into monkhood
That is awesome.
and raised that way. So
I love it.
Guru's starting to get excited and making plans. And,
Yeah, he's excited to have a little brother.
yeah, found him. He kicked his hand away the other day, and it's like been like a whole thing ever since. It's like
that little punk.
Yeah. But yeah, well, we still have 3 months to go. So.
Yes. But it is awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited.
And I wonder if Chatty Charlie had hers.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything. Chatty Charlie, I mean, if you're out there, hope it's going well.
So I hope everything's going good with your daughter and that you have your new grandbaby for your birthday.
This is the first live in a while that we haven't had Sancho or her in.
The live chat's going dead anyway. All right, well,
we're about done anyway. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching.
Yeah, let us know if you have had a DNA test done, if you would have a DNA test done to have it in any kind of database,
and what you might have found out about it. If you know anything, let us know. I know Curly has.
Many, yes.
Because he's talked about it.
Yep. And then I'm like, poor, sweet, simple fool.
Exactly.
But I mean, have they not seen the movie, the show Apocalypse? It's like that's how the devil found a lot of those people was through the Ancestry.com database.
Exactly.
Had favorable.
Okay, yeah, genetics. The American Horror Story Apocalypse.
Yes. But really.
Oh, you just said Apocalypse, like the movie Apocalypse.
Okay, well that's what Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
No, that was Apocalypse Now. The American Horror Story.
Yeah, American Horror Story.
Yeah,
yes.
That was a good one. That was a good thing.
It was very good. I loved it.
But yeah, that's how they found him.
Yeah, it was.
Favorable genetics.
Yes.
Alrighty.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, namaste. Thank you all so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Check out the Patreon. It's not overly developed, but it will be.
Have we even checked it recently?
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And what are you doing?
You're too far over.
There we go.
No, you have to hit it and then go down and hit it.
Gotcha.
Okay.